Hello. So I'm looking at Euro USD and I can see that we're in an uptrend. What I'm going to do is I'm either going to look for a way to jump into this trend, or I'm going to look and see if it's going to reverse soon, and I'm just looking at some divergence right now. So I can see some a slight divergence here on the chart, and so let me see. If this region holds, okay, the 5-minute is coming into support. The 15-minute looks like it's possibly going to cross this momentum. It's at support as well. Whenever you see this red line coming into the green line, it's coming either into support or it'd be like, for example, on this 1-minute chart, into resistance. So once it crosses, then you know it's broken, and prices should head higher depending on the higher time frames and what direction they're looking like. So right now I'm seeing we have a high, lower high on the chart. We have a high, higher high on the indicator. So this would have been a sell here, unless, of course, we took this divergence to the upside, which this 5-minute could show a failure to the downside right here, and it sort of looks like that's what it's going to do. But to know for sure, to have a better idea, I would look at a higher time frame to see, is this going to actually cross and drop prices. So that's the 15-minute. This is the 30-minute. We have a low, lower, low, and here we have a low, higher low. So that would tell me to go long, which you can see prices did go up right here, even before the cross, and right about the cross, it kind of leveled out and has dropped a little bit on the 30-minute. So this one could cross and drop. It could fail back to the upside. The 1 hour is unclear because it's in between these red lines. It's in between it's inside the neutral zone. The 4 hours showing what looks like a rejection to the down or to the upside, as it was coming up here, then it turned back down. The daily coming into support here It could cross and drop prices. The weekly looks up to me, like it's getting a little upside momentum here. So what I would do is, okay, so this level held right here. So this would actually be an okay time to buy the next expiry. Let me check the 5 minute. Okay, it looks like we had what appears to be a rejection to the downside. So you could buy the 1815 expiry. But there's no need to rush. As you can see on the 5 minute, it's turned back over. I guess that's another reason why I was saying there's no need to rush, because the failure to the downside looked a little bit different. It didn't quite come like further down into this green line and then reject it. It was so high up here and close to what's considered the oversold region. So in this area, you would be looking to sell unless you get, unless you have clear upside on a higher time frame. See all of this bouncing around here? Most likely this 15 minute was pointed straight up or around about there. So like it's 1755, 1800, 1805. Yeah, this was pointed up. So it of course it didn't fail. It didn't fail until the 45, which is right here when the higher time frame chart, you can see the angle on this fast line. It's called a hinge. It's just basically it's giving you an early signal that there's not much more time to the upside. And so as the 5 minute dropped, it pulled this over with it. It pulled this over, and at 1930. So for 45 minutes, it was coming down into support here, and then between 1930 and 1945, it switched into an uptrend. So it had been right in here, because this is 1930 right here, and this is 1945. So this was the right after the divergence right here that I saw, and you buy it here. So just going to watch this. Looks like it came back into this prior resistance that looks like it is now support. However, with the 5 minute pointed down like this, I wouldn't necessarily trust it. I did miss this initial entry here, and honestly, by the way the stochastics looks, I wouldn't have necessarily trusted that anyway. But what I'm learning is that trading really is all about trust, and that I really can trust it. As a matter of fact, this was about 9:15. 9:30, 9:45-ish. So let's look and see where the 5-minute chart was. At 9:45 or 19:45, actually, it had crossed over. It had crossed this resistance. There wasn't a failure or anything like that. So from 1945 to 1955, it took it about 10 minutes to get up here to this point, which to me is kind of fast. I think but let's see. So I really prefer to jump into a trend early on. To me, it's a little bit easier to do that. If I can just jump into it at the beginning. So, okay. Let's just see what this thing tells us. Let's just, I'm going to watch this, and I'm just going to go from there. There's nothing I can really do right now about having missed this initial signal here. So, all right. So I'm looking to jump into an hour worth of expiries. If this cross right here, if this cross right here of the stochastics, when it crossed through this green line, this would actually been the best entry. So let's just, I'm going to mark this this line here, mark it red. Let's try that, that'll work. So have this big candle break through this support level, a retest here, another retest, and yeah, so really, I believe it all boils down to support. I was asking myself, or trust, and I was asking myself yesterday, how many trades, how many of these setups do I need to take in order to know that I can trust it? For example, do I need to take 100 of these on a demo account while I'm watching this? And after I've traded 100 of these successfully and I see and I know that it works, then, go to the next level. because I believe right now it's just getting comfortable entering these trends, you know, according to the higher time frame and tracking the results. I mean, even if it's just 2 trades a day, how many trades do I need in order to feel comfortable with this, in order to know that I can basically trust it? And I think the second thing that would be the most important thing to do would be to get comfortable continuing the trend on the rallies or the pullbacks, like this one right here. You could see something was wrong with this short, even though it had a big candle, and sometimes these big candles can look kind of, they can seem kind of intimidating, but when you look back, it doesn't look so big, you know, or small candles can look, you know, not so reassuring, but when you look back, that was the, you know, that was your signal. So regardless of what the candles are telling me, I want to learn how this indicator moves, because again, the 5-minute was pointed up at the 45, remember, and this is the 45 right here. So even when this red line right here on the stochastics, when it pointed up, that was a buy. See, if we would have got in on this candle, it still closed, this expiry closed above it, the next expiry closed above it. There's a very good chance that we'd have to see how many of the next expiries will close above that. So here's, you know, better prices down here, this break, great prices, and still an opportunity for prices, for winning prices. So I don't want to talk too much about it. I want to focus on entering the trend since I missed the breakout. Right here would have been a potential entrance, and then we have a rejection here, this green candle, you see, and then the indicator points higher, you see. That would have been another entrance for the next, possibly for the next. I mean, we don't want to continue to buy every single one of these signals higher, unless we know, unless we see with the higher time frame charts that there's still a lot of upside momentum. So when I look at the 5-minute chart, I see low, lower low, low, higher low here. So this actually was this was a pullback right here. Even though it's a little bit different, the way I understand it right now is that particular pullback is because you can see right here we have lower prices and we have a higher price. So down here we have lower, and we also have this indicator is also higher than the high on the, or the, it's a higher low. So we have low, higher low, we have low, higher low. So I believe the way to interpret that is that it's a continuation of the trend because it's in sync with the market. There's no divergence there. What I find is that typically these trends will run anywhere, they'll be good anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. So if this one basically started about 1945, then about 2045, which would be in about 25 more minutes, we may get a breakout to lower prices, or we may just get a, you know, a pullback, and this trend may continue to run. So I can gauge that by looking at the higher time frame. Seems like a rejection here on the 30-minute. The 1 hour is in the neutral zone. It looks like it wants to cross this resistance. In the 4 hour, it looks like it's picking up some momentum because a minute ago when we checked this, it was more pointed down. And the daily is still coming into support. It hasn't crossed. So there's still upside potential, and it looks like it's gaining momentum. I mean, the 15-minute has slope here. It's pretty much rejected this green line. It hasn't crossed it, and it's showing you higher. So looking at the 1 minute chart, the way this is coming down, I can already tell you that something's wrong with this short, because I've, you know, or I feel pretty confident that something's wrong with this short because I've seen this enough times that maybe today is the first day that I can actually say that. Or, you know, it was a process. In the beginning, I would see it, I wasn't sure. I saw it more and more, and eventually I just kind of see it now. I mean, it's coming down at like a 45-degree angle, or at about 4 o'clock. You know, it could come up, retest this green line, this momentum, which this green line is also like the moving average. If I threw a moving average on this chart, it would mostly pretty much mimic this. It would mimic this green line. So let me see. I'll just try that one. Oh, okay. Let me delete that. That was not the right one. Okay, so moving average, custom. So, well, it's a little bit different. I don't actually know what the settings are on this. I'd have to check it. Custom moving averages. 13. Change it to 50. I honestly don't know a whole lot about moving averages. I don't really trade with moving averages. I did have it on my chart at one point. I put a little bit of attention to it because I hear it talked about. You know, I've heard it mentioned, but I would actually have to apply my thinking a little bit more in order to see how it could benefit me in trading. So just going to delete that for now. As you can see, this 1 minute chart, the indicator is coming back up here. It is testing this high. We actually have a higher high on the chart now. So high, you know, higher high on the chart, and we have a higher high on the indicator. Just want to look at this one more time because I was saying right in here that we could buy the next signal. I believe it was right in here, but I was saying that. And I can tell, like I can really tell that I'm improving. I think at this point, like I said, and I'm just trying to break it down into steps, because once I've accomplished one step, you know, once I've accomplished this step, once I've accomplished this, then I can build on that and I can accomplish the next thing. You know, it's like, to be a trader, I need to be able to do that all. I need to be able to embody the whole thing, you know, entering the trends, identifying the breakouts. But first, I'm going to break it down a little bit. I'm going to slow myself down a little bit, because what's always worked for me is to slow down, because when I slow down, I actually end up going faster. So because I missed this initial entry right here, this breakout, learning how to enter this trend, learning how to enter it after that is something that I'm going to learn how to do. Because I had, let's see, one right here where it rejected these lower prices. I mean, we were clearly in an uptrend based on the higher time frame chart. It was pointed straight up. So there was one, here was two, and we had a little bit of a hinge here showing there wasn't much to the downside. And then boom, that was an entrance, so that was two. Here we had a little bit of a hinge. and we have green candles popping up. We're at support. So, you know, if you're looking for 3 reasons to trade, like they say, well, support, it's at support. The indicator is down here. You know, it's towards the bottom of the indicator, which you want to buy when it's down there. So if we're at support and the indicator is in an area where we can buy, we're starting to see green candles. I mean, that's 3 reasons right there. We're also making higher highs on the chart, so we're in what appears to be an uptrend. The 5-minute chart is pointing up. I'm kind of just realizing that I had plenty of reasons to get into this and to be confident about it, to trust it, to be comfortable with it, you know. So, you know, again, like I said, something was wrong with this short based off the angle that it was coming down. It did come back here. It looks like a failure. However, we're still up above this red line. We're still outside of the neutral zone. So just because there was a failure right here, I wouldn't be so quick to reverse my direction. Also, looking at the 5-minute chart, it is still, I mean, it just dropped a little momentum when we first clicked on it. We have a higher high on the chart, and we have if the 5-minute, if this continues to break lower, this would actually be a bearish divergence on the 5-minute chart, which divergence on a higher time frame chart is, you know, is a telling sign that the trend is going to continue for a while. It's going to continue for longer than it would if we'd seen it on the 1-minute chart. But even on the 1-minute chart, you can find signals that will last for an hour, especially if they're in line with the higher time frame chart. If the higher time frame chart is saying go up, and the 1-minute chart, you get a buy signal on the 1-minute chart, then you can go up for an hour, and you can be comfortable with that. You can trust that it will give you the profit. So I'm just going to watch this. Looks like we have another failure to the upside right here. My cursor might be a little bit above it. It's the line that I'm looking at because I don't want to block my view with this cursor, but a little bit up, and then we pulled down. So now price is dropping, but we're kind of in the neutral zone. This really isn't happening up here. What happened up here was a little bit off. It's showing me that the upside momentum is quite strong. So what I'm seeing here, based off of just from what I was looking at yesterday, from, you know, if I want to use a trend line here or a support line here, right? I'm going to make this black. As this is pulling down, what I'm seeing is that it's retesting this level. You see, it touched here or came very close to this support, and it rejected. It's trying it again. Prices are dropping into it again, and yet the momentum, the indicator is all the way down here already. The 5-minute is coming into support. It's still up above this green line. The green line is still up. Now, I'm not saying this is not going to cross and drop prices. Even the 15-minute is starting to point down. It can very well drop, but I would not get in right here. As a matter of fact, I believe I'm saying that the price is going to continue higher. I'm saying that's going to retest this level here. It can come into primary support, or it can also come into secondary support. This is in a training if you're in my signal room. It's in the video that I sent you in the notes, where you know, we're talking about the most important thing are these levels here. So this indicator is already down here. As soon as I start seeing some green candles, I'm going to go ahead and I would buy the market, because that would be me trusting that it's going to continue to go higher. That would be the way that I would have wanted to enter these other other signals. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, I want to check the highs on this indicator, and I'm seeing that we actually have a higher high on the indicator. So there's nothing on this indicator telling me to go short outside of the failures right here, these failures to the upside. So it's dropping price quite a bit. It's crossed this level, but now we're here. We're at a previous support, a previous resistance. Now, how far down will this go? You know, well, low, lower low, okay. Actually, this could have been a signal right here. No, because it's not making a higher low on the chart. When you have low, higher low on the chart and a low, lower low on the indicator, you come up here and you can trust to buy, sell it. So it looks like price is pulling back a little bit here. Still going to watch it, because most likely this indicator is going to drop below this level here. And we would then have a low, higher low, and a low, lower low. Low, higher low, low, lower low. That would tell me when the price comes back up, we would sell it. So that would be a good entrance. Okay, the 5-minute actually crossed here. I didn't see that because I was talking. It's okay. So price is going to come down more. It actually is now, this green line is actually below the low of this green line. So I'm just going to watch it. The more you watch it, you know, I don't want to say the more you watch it, but yes, the more you watch it, eventually, if you're not trading it, you know, like, okay, I'm on my demo account and I see this, I'm just going to trade it. I'm just going to see if I'm right. I mean, you want to balance that out, because you don't want to be trading just to see if you're right, because if you're trading on your live account and you have that same type of energy, that same type of mindset, I'm just going to trade and see if I'm right, you can, you know, you're opening yourself up to risk. But because it is a demo account, it is okay to do that. That's what you're supposed to be doing with your demo account, is learning it. But you just want to be mindful to not let that become, you know, that energy become a habit that you carry over to your real account. Just gotta trust it. Gotta trust it. You gotta trust it. You gotta trust it. Now the indicator is making an equal low to this low here. It's not a lower low, or, you know, maybe it is close to being a lower low. So the chart is low, higher low. The indicator is, let's just say it's lower, right? Low, lower low. That's divergence, because the chart and the indicator do not line up. We would expect that if the chart was making a higher low, the indicator would make a higher low as well. So let's just watch this. But this divergence here, low, lower, low, low, higher, low, although this was really, yeah. So if you went from this low here on the indicator, you have this low on the chart, low. Let me see if I can draw this line on here. Low, lower, low on the chart. Low, higher, low on the indicator. Does everybody see that? And there's a buy. Except, yeah, actually, if you would have got in here on one of these two red candles, you still would have won all of these. Except, one thing that you also want to do is, because we are in a downtrend, you want to, and because this is kind of bumpy, it wasn't quite so clear, you have a high on the indicator. So we have high, lower high, high, higher high. That's sell. And then high, lower high, high, higher high is a sell and then a buy. So this was our buy. And for those of you in the group, I kind of mentioned that signal didn't always seem to work out. And that's the signal I'm talking about. So anyways, let's just try to get a signal in here. I'm looking for an hour's worth of trades on one signal, because that is the safest way to enter. We wouldn't have had to enter any of these pullbacks, although we could have, you know, with more time and confidence. But we could have simply entered right here, and we could have had an hour's worth of trades and been done for the day, you know, if you wanted to. So this 5-minute chart did sell the prices off. The 15 is still coming down. The 30 is still up. So that's telling me that this 15 may not drop too low. It's just going to depend on, okay, the 4 hour just dropped a little bit of its momentum. It just depends on what this 30-minute chart does and what this 1 hour chart does. The 1 hour could roll over. It could cross and then roll over, simply because the 4 hour is still below this green line. So it's still negative trending on the 4 hour chart. It has not crossed. It has not shown any upside potential. Okay, so this area here would be, I would be looking to possibly buy right here, but let me, low, higher, low, low, lower, low. This expiry is almost done, so if there were time, you could potentially buy this expiry. But based off the way this is sloping, it's not straight up, so it's looking like it wants to come back to retest this. If it retests this green line, if it comes back into this green line, it's coming into support. And then if it were to have a failure, as you can see, it's getting stronger. If it were to have a failure at that point, then you could feel confident to take at least one or more trades to the upside. Because if you got a clear signal here, it would actually turn this 5-minute chart upward. And since the 15-minute is coming into support, it hasn't clearly crossed it yet. It looks like it has, but sometimes you have to be careful by looking at the what is the whole thing telling you. So right now it's actually making a lower low. If you compare it to the high right here of the indicator, this high on this indicator, or at this part of the indicator, is making a lower high. So it's saying go lower. Low, lower, low, low. So I would actually think, yeah, we have a low, lower, low on the chart, but we don't have a low, higher, low on the indicator. So there's a little bit of, we do have a low, higher, low here, low, lower, low, and that would be a sell signal. As you can see, we had a really sharp drop here. So we just had this negative event. It pops into resistance right in this area. And it's looking like it wants to drop from here. Okay, so I'm just going to focus. I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to look for a way to get in. Now, the way this is hooking here, it's kind of giving you this warning. Well, I wouldn't actually call that quite a warning because it hasn't crossed over this. I've seen this before. This is something you'll see, and remembering what it's telling you is the key. Because of how sharp this is, if this were to reject all of a sudden, I really would not want to buy this. And as a matter of fact, it just looks like, because of the angle that is coming into this momentum, like it just looks like it's going to cross, and that would make this a failure to the upside. The 15-minute has dropped, so I'm actually looking to go short here. Something I've heard before is when you see that the market is giving you good conditions, like it just did, it gave us an hour worth of trades, you want to take them because you don't know if the next hour is going to be rough and rocky in the neutral zone or how it's going to go. And right now, I don't really like the way this looks. I mean, it may not last very long, but it is in the neutral zone. It has crossed, but we are at a support level here. And it's holding, appears to be holding. You know, it has crossed. 5 minute is still up. We still have some time. I'm going to try to jump into this trade if I get a clearer signal, which even if this thing came up and sloped across this, I still wouldn't really like the way it looked. I mean, it's already crossed, showing me to go lower. And you see how that neutral zone is unreliable because now price is going up. This area is safe to trade when you're in a clear trend. Like this here, it's a pullback. You know, here's another pullback. You could have even entered here for another hour. And that's something that I want to do, something that I want to get better at, is being able to identify these, like these legs, you know. This could be a leg here. This could end up being a leg that's good for an hour. Especially if the 5 minute comes up to this green line and crosses, then it's going to have slope. And it would pull this 15 minute up as well. See the unreliability? Now it's rejecting. When I see that, it tells me that it can come back up again because it'll make like this little jag, this little zigzag here, and then it'll do whatever it's going to do. But because of the time that's left before this expiry ends, it could come up to this region. The 5 minute could reject and it could drop prices. So I missed it. I missed all the good trades. No, there's more. There's more. This is going to have some slope with it if that crosses, and I would like to take this trade. It's just not a normal signal though, so, you know, do I trust it? I didn't trust all the other ones. Those were normal. This one, you won't see this quite often. You know, you won't see this very often. If this thing goes up one more time, it's gonna take prices higher, most likely, because it's got 1, 2, 3 points, and that doesn't really mean anything, but it kind of does mean something to me. It's kind of something that I've noticed. It's just that after all those good signals back here that I didn't trust, am I now going to trust this inside the neutral zone? And then, you know what I mean, send a signal that maybe doesn't win? I don't know if I want to take that risk because there's clear signals that can be taken, that can be won. Why would I risk losing after having been so patient? If I'm just a little bit more patient, I can get an hour's worth of good expiries. So that's the third one. It just popped across and it's going up, and yet I'm still watching it. And I just said if it crossed, I was going to buy. This trade here, let's see. $15 still, it's crossed over the momentum line. I mean, it's still positive trending. It's up above, I'll call this line 0. It's 50 outside of the neutral zone. It's in this area here. So still positive trending. This is trying to pull back up here. 30 still pointed up as well. Okay. So now I'm seeing this a little bit differently. This is starting to roll over. So this is just one of those trades. This is just one of those moves on the indicator that you don't see it all that often. And trying to trade it just to see if I'm right, it's not really smart. So just have to be patient now. I have to be even more patient because and that's where you start getting tested once you've missed all these trades, and if you see that there were opportunities and they weren't taken, and now you start kind of itching. You want to trade. You want to trade. I want to trade, right? I want to trade. I want to trade. And as soon as I want to trade, I'm ready. Like, I was ready anyway. I just needed to, be confident about it and just jump in, just get it. But I didn't. And now I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And now the indicator's like giving me this weird stuff. So now I'm forced to wait even more. I mean, I'm not forced to wait, but obviously, the smart thing is to wait. I'm not trying to just see if I'm right. I want to win. So I'm just going to be patient. This red line here is actually an hour that I've been in doing this, watching the market, and wanted to be done at this point. Could have been done. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, could have got in right here and actually met my goal of being done. 5 minute has a rejection to the upside, but I still wouldn't even trust this completely because, I mean, it's possible prices could drop, but I would need to see the point on this indicator pass below on this point here to confirm that, because it did not come quite as high as I would like to see it, where it was really right there and then rejected it,